Hello everybody, we have another speedrun game with the black pieces against JLo 65 783. JLo opens with D4, stake and claim in the center. We go knight f6, developing a minor piece towards the center, getting closer to castling. White goes bishop f4, developing a minor piece towards the center. This, however, undefends the b2 pawn. I'm going to try to utilize these facts. I'm going to immediately attack his center. I don't want him to create the strong London center. So I play c5. This opens up the diagonal for my queen and challenges his strongest pawn. White goes knight f3. This defends the pawn that I'm attacking. However, he's defending it with a piece and not a pawn. Ideally, you want to recapture here with a pawn to maintain a strong center. If you put a piece here, I can use one of my pawns in the future to kick that piece out. So he takes this, I'm going to take, right? Because this is my opportunity before he protects it with a pawn to make him put a piece here. And now he lost his strong center. He has one pawn, I have two on the central files. So now he has these two pieces, they're unforkable squares, keep that in mind. And okay, I want to continue with normal development. I just bring my other knight towards the center and offer a trade. This also supports the square for this push. If I did do this push and he throws in knight takes knight, that hits my queen. So I would have to take the knight back. So the fork doesn't work with my knight here. I'm not going to move my knight out of the way just because, right? But what I am going to do is utilize my queen in this diagonal. I think queen here puts pressure on this pawn, which is hanging, and puts a little extra pressure on the center. It's a developing move that attacks the center, as well as other weaknesses. Okay, so he puts his bishop on b5. This cuts off the vision of the queen temporarily. I could play a6, right, to get vision again. If he wants to turn back, he'd have to take. I would take, and then he could respond to this threat by defending it somehow. The downside of putting your bishop here is the knight's not pinned, right? The pawn, I never moved it. So my knight is free to go. So although you could play something like a6, although you could play something like g6, this bishop is defended by this knight. Can we remove the knight? Well, knight takes knight because it's not pinned, right? There's no pin. So if I take his knight and he takes back, his bishop's hanging. And there's no like intermezzo, so it looks like he loses a piece. He takes the knight, I take the free piece, and now he cannot castle, and I'm up a bishop. The game is over in 7 moves. White develops a minor piece towards the center, but it threatens my queen. I obviously don't want to lose my queen. This pawn is hanging. Normally it might be dangerous to take these pawns. Sometimes they throw a rook here, but notice a couple things. One, the pawn behind the queen is defended, so he can never take it. Two, the knight is undefended, right? So this d pawn, if it was back home defending the knight, then maybe I wouldn't take the b pawn. Because if he moves his rook over, I have to move my queen here. He moves his rook over, I have to move my queen maybe here or some awkward square. But because this is defended, and because this knight is undefended, I'm going to take this, and now his knight's hanging, so he doesn't have time for the rook over move, right? And ideally now you really want to develop as black. You want to get your stuff out in castle, and then you won the game because you're up a piece. So he moves his knight, but this, although it gets it out of the threat, it doesn't develop another piece. it's not a good move. It's on the side of the board. It's not protected. It looks kind of lame. You could go check. It looks like it wins the piece, but c3, the queen defends the knight and attacks your queen. So here's c3, and it's like, why? What's the point? Alternatively, see, the thing is, you go here and he goes c3, you have to move your queen, right? So it's his turn. But how do we force him to go c3 and still have it be our turn? So like if we move our queen here, right, because it's hit, this attacks the knight. He can't move the knight to defend it because I'll take it. I mean, he could go here, but I'll just kick it again. So if he wants to defend it, he has to go c3. But now the difference is c3 does not hit the queen. So now we can spend that turn doing whatever we want. And so that's how I chose the difference between this square and this square. The check seems much more natural. I'm sure a lot of you would have definitely chosen that one. But now you can see I won't have to spend a turn moving my queen. All is well. And now that the knight vacated this square, it's undefended the center. Now my knight can hop into the center, and this square is particularly good because it hits a hanging bishop as well as coordinates on this square with the queen. Looks kind of dangerous. But he doesn't do c3. Instead, he goes knight c5. What does this threaten? Nothing. No forward jumps. The drawback, very precarious knight. It's asking for me to kick and develop for free. I need to get this bishop out anyway. Now I could pick which way do I want to develop this bishop for free. I'm going to go with d6 because this also blunts his bishop. It doesn't give him the free diagonal. He can't coordinate on the c7 square and ever again, right? What? What? So this guy just, he offers a queen trade, which is fine, except your knight's hanging. I mean, you could trade. You can also avoid the trade any number of ways, I guess. This is the check. He'll probably chase you with something. I mean, you can avoid it if you want, but considering I'm up a piece and about to win another piece, you just take the queen and then take the piece. And now you're up 2 pieces. So all you have to do is get your pieces out. Doesn't matter. I'm gonna go e5, hanging the pawn. It's very similar to another speedrun when I told you to go g5 instead of g6. It's more dynamic, it's more explosive, it hangs the pawn, but the point is to distract your opponent for a move while you do what you really want to do. I could have gone g6 to develop this bishop, but I want to develop it and take this pawn simultaneously. So I went e5 to distract his bishop. It's a forcing move. He can't just leave his bishop there, it hangs. And that distracts him. So now I get to get my piece out for free because I used up his move for him, right? So now he castles. You can't leave your king here. That's super dangerous. I castle. And you may think, oh wait, he can do this, but that's good for black, not for white. Black is up 2 pieces. Doubled pawn structure is irrelevant. Okay. So now we just keep developing our remaining pieces. This bishop nicely blockades the pawn. We go and develop to a defended square. It happens to pressure a pawn, but that's a byproduct, not the real goal. It's just nice to put your pieces on defended squares because then you never have to worry about them. Now the plan is to just put 2 rooks on this file. Well, okay, he's coming with a clear threat. Once again, no reason to let him into your position. And it's nice to have pieces on defended squares. That's all it takes. His counterplay is done, and you defend your piece. Beautiful move. All you have to do now to convert is put both of your rooks on this file somewhere, and that's that. He throws in his rook in here, but he's never going to take. Like, it's not good for him. So this rook is just completely useless. You can go a6 at any point and kick him out, but why do that? A lot of you automatically do a6 or rook to d8, right? They're not bad moves, but they're also not good because your mindset is wrong. Don't play the first move you see. Look for a better move. So he moves his rook here, and what this does is it creates an opportunity for an alignment. And now you get to win more material, and he might just resign. And so you really should pay attention and focus. It's a lot easier when you're not talking. He comes here and attacks the bishop, but his rook is hanging, so we take free stuff. Now we're up everything. He's attacking this one. Just, I mean, you could go a6 as a joke, but we'll just move it back one. Doesn't really matter. And again, when he's done with his shenanigans, we're just going to put our rooks on the d file. He has no counterplay, just a rook over. If he pushes, we ignore, because if he takes, that's not a thing, we just take back. And now we want to double, so we might as well go to the most active square with a threat. And then we can double. You could take the pawn, but you don't have to take the pawn. You're up 12 points of material. Just get your pieces in the game so you can try to checkmate him. Okay, well, now he hits our rook. So since we have to move our rook anyway, we might as well take the pawn and set up discovered checks. Okay, so he's still attacking my rook, but as I mentioned, I have discovered checks. Do I have checkmate though? This is protected, so check. If he goes here, I have windmill. If he goes here, I have check here. I mean, why go through that? Just take the rook. Right now he's trying to take. He's like, why can't I take? He brings his king here, but that's not good. So again, a lot of you would automatically take the rook, but don't make the first move you see. Look for a better move for a couple seconds if you have the time on the clock. Here we do. Here we have checkmate in one. So we go for that instead. Now let's go through the game. We play a developing move towards the center. And now, and my moves are not the only moves, right? If you play e6 here, you're fighting for the center. If you play d5 here, you're fighting for the center. If you play c6, you're fighting for the center. If you play c5, you're fighting for the center, right? So, and those are all different systems, right? You do one and they'll say, oh, it's not in here, but Queen's Gambit declined. You do the other, Slav. You do the other, Nimzo, right? And it's just different little pawn moves. They all fight for the center slightly differently. So when I go c5, it may look weird to you, but understand it's just one of the many options of fighting for these 4 squares, right? Which you can make many pawn moves that hit these squares. This is one of them. It happens to target a square that he already has a pawn on, so it creates tension immediately. So it fights for the center. And now, if you can take this strong central pawn with a flank pawn, you should. It's what the Sicilian's based on, right? So this is definitely concerns itself with center, as in destroying white's center. Having a pawn here is very good for white. Gone. Now I develop a piece which hits the center. Now I develop a piece that hits the center as well as creates threats. And now forcing move, in the sense it's a tactic that wins material. Forcing move. Tactic. Free stuff. My queen is hit. Forcing move and free stuff. My queen is hit. Forcing move with threats. Center. Development. And comes with threats. And then this is just, again, forcing moves, win a material, free stuff, tactical sequence. And now, what do? Boom. Center, but really, development. So we throw that pawn away, develop a piece towards the center. It's always the same. King safety. Development towards the center. Right? This is attacked. Forcing move. Free stuff. Free stuff. My bishop's attacked. Forcing move. Development towards the center. Improving move with threat, which concerns white's king safety and prepares further development. Attacks my rook. Forcing move. Free stuff. King safety. Forcing move. Free stuff. And that's, you don't need to go through the rest. But you can see again, center development, king safety, forcing moves, free stuff. Always the same, always an easy victory, below 1,000. Try for yourself. If you don't believe me, do it out loud, put a piece of paper, center development, king safety, look at it during the game, get it in your head. You will win some games. I hope this helps. Good luck in your chess. Submit your rapid games in my Discord. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. Goodbye, everybody.